My final presentation is on Timothy Goodman. First things first, to give a little overview of him, Timothy Goodman is a contemporary designer, illustrator, and art director based in New York City. By far, he is most well known for his Sharpie-styled murals and various catchphrases. Goodman is a social activist with a focus on mental health and human emotions, which you'll see as I move forward in the presentation. Next thing I'm going to give you is a short biography of Goodman's life. Like many designers, he went through a long journey and many different jobs to get where he is now. So Goodman was born in Cleveland, Ohio on June 23, 1982. Immediately after high school, he worked for a painting/home improvement company while taking classes at community college for interior design at night. After community college, he then went to the School of Visual Arts in New York City to study design at age 23. After that, he worked as a junior book jacket designer for Simon & Schuster. Then, he went to work for Brian Collins's new firm. Finally, a big opportunity was presented to him in 2010, and he took a job for Apple. However, he quit after 3.5 years to become a freelance designer. Before we go into any specific examples of his work, I'd like to compare his style to the style of Keith Haring, a pop artist. So this is something I noticed immediately when I went to see some of Goodman's works on his website. I noticed that he and Keith Haring both use thick, cartoonish black outlines in their works. Additionally, their murals fill up every inch of available space and tend to have a lot of movement in them. Both were also involved in social activism. However, some of the differences are that Keith Haring tended to focus on sexuality, whereas Goodman does not and tends to focus more on mental health and less explicit topics. Keith Haring also has a distinguishing set of motifs scattered throughout his artwork, such as the people he illustrates and his dog figures. So a few examples of some of Goodman's most exemplary work include the work he did for the Zappos campaign. The former campaign, firstly, was a celebration of the classic Zappos shoe. Goodman's work for this campaign consisted of billboards and posters which were put up around New York City. I find that this campaign stands out amongst his body of work because not only does it showcase his ability to illustrate type, it highlights his writerly side in the form of short poetic anecdotes. Physically, the works for this campaign consist of blocks of text against solid colored backgrounds. The colors of the type in the backgrounds are bold, contrasting nicely with one another to quickly capture the attention of passerby. A second of Goodman's works that I find to be exemplary is the mural that he made for SeatGeek. For some more context, SeatGeek hired Goodman to create a mural in one of their headquarters in New York City. What sets it apart from his other murals he's done is that it covers entire rooms, going above staircases and around windows. As the article SeatGeek's Space, How a Few Years of Incredible Growth Called for a New Headquarters explains, Goodman was given a list of objects/phrases to include relevant to SeatGeek's life events, and from there he free-handed all of his illustrations. The mural features cartoonish doodles drawn with thick black outlines that are left uncolored for the sake of simplicity. His use of curvilinear lines and doodles which represent roadways create movement throughout the entire piece. There is a fun aura to be found within this mural, and it gives this specific SeatGeek headquarters a sense of uniqueness. Moving away from some of the physical artworks he's created, and moving on to some innovations, are his social experiments. So Goodman has been involved in numerous social experiments, including 40 Days of Dating and 12 Kinds of Kindness alongside fellow designer Jessica Walsh. These experiments involved him and Walsh putting themselves through numerous scenarios interacting with themselves and others. I find that these experiments are innovative because they show a true connection to his audience and a willingness to experiment beyond just physical art, while also incorporating his design into the websites and books he created alongside of them. From illustrated murals to wacky typographic catchphrases to social experiments, one thing Goodman's work shows is that graphic design has come a long way from what it was when it first arose in the 15th century. Designers used to have to completely adhere to the requests of clients, with there being little room for them to show their personalities. It was purely business and not much else. As Goodman said in his own words in his interview for The Great Discontent, a real tragedy for so many young designers is that they have to have the voice of whatever client or studio they're working for. Rarely does a young designer get the chance to put their own voice or humor or sensibilities into their work. While graphic design still operates that way in most facets, Timothy Goodman shows that modern designers can find success in being their own visionaries and letting their personalities shine through their work. He is a prime example of someone who is able to break away from the restrictiveness of a big corporation and use their personality and the emotions they feel to make a successful brand for themselves. Truly, Timothy Goodman is a man who is able to find success by just being himself. And I feel that this photograph of him with this shirt is an accurate representation of who he is. Even my feelings have feelings. Some final personal critiques I have about Timothy Goodman's work. I was immediately drawn to his style when I started browsing the works on his website. I think he has a very iconic way of illustrating that is versatile and brimming with personality. I think that the phrases and the prose he includes in a lot of his work are meaningful and relatable, and they give him more personality, and show a side of him that not many can see.